I'm not teaching, I'm publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 250 British poets. We're on the page 87, part 2. While doing risk training, and if you participate in the risk training, that is at your own risk. We are having now 5 examples of poetry. Yes. And let's read the first example. It's ours. Now it is completely working. Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Brown. Oh, to be in England now, that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees, some morning unaware, that the lowest boughs and the brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough in England now. That is Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning. So what does it mean? It's basically a description of England. It's Home Thoughts from Abroad. Someone seems to be abroad in another country and thinks of England. And there, to be in England now, that April's there. And whoever wakes in England sees some morning anyway. So that in England, it is imagine right now there's April, and people are waking up, and everyone wakes up, and it's some morning, and without thinking much about it, we're seeing the lowest boughs and the brushwood sheaf, so we're seeing the nature. Around the elm tree bole are the tiny leaf, and more nature, elm trees and leaves, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough. So he describes that people are waking up in England, and right now in April they're seeing the nature, the elm trees, the sheaf, and there's a chaffinch singing, so a bird I guess, on an orchard bough, and that happens in England right now. So from abroad, someone, or he thinks right now in England, there are people everywhere waking up, and without great noticing, the nature is beautiful and the bird is singing. She Walks in Beauty by Lord Byron. She walks in beauty like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies, and all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect, in her eyes. I think I am trying to find another interpretation besides the obvious one. But I can't find another one, so it must be the obvious. No, it doesn't have to be the obvious one. But the obvious one is the only one I can find. So he describes it where she walks in beauty. There is someone existing basically in beauty. It doesn't mean literally walking, but existing in beauty, of course, but also walking. And it is like the night in the cloudless climes. So like the weather is in spheres, as if there would be no clouds and a starry sky. So lots of stars in the sky, cloudless and no skies and many stars in the sky. And all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. All that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. I don't really understand that part. And I think that part has an influence on the first part. Basically, I don't understand the whole thing. I don't want to interpret it in the wrong direction. I have a few other ideas, but they could be wrong, so I'm not saying them. And in this case, it would be important if they were wrong. And when we're having 3 more, William Wordsworth, The Daffodils. William Wordsworth, The Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. These are not the complete poems. She Walks in Beauty, I think, is longer. Home Thoughts from Abroad is also longer than just these 5-6 lines, I think. And the tiger is very, very longer. I'm pretty sure that it's the tiger by William Blake. It takes 7-8 minutes, I think, to read. But I'm not completely sure about it. So William Wordsworth, The Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud. So like lonely wanderer. So he was just a lonely wanderer. That floats on higher vales and hills. So like he is painting a picture, like a cloud over valleys and hills over a whole landscape. When all at once I saw a host of golden daffodils. So I saw a crowd, but this crowd was a host of golden daffodils. If these are not their complete poems, and I think that. It's a wonder we are not understanding them. Then all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. I'm not sure if of these 4 lines it's clear what is to take literally and what is a metaphor. Okay, William Blake, The Tiger. Tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of a night, what immortal hand or eye could frame the fearful symmetry? Some famous lines include. There are many poems which are just 4, 5, 6 lines long. Robert Browning has, and Lord Byron, and William Wordsworth, and William Blake, and Wilfred Owen all have written multiple poems which are just 5, 6 lines long, and we could have printed them completely. But okay, they maybe wanted to go for famous ones. So, tiger, tiger, burning bright in the forests of the night. What immortal hand or eye could frame thy fearful symmetry? And the next one, by Wilfred Owen, Anthem for Doomed Youth, and here's written Wilfred Owen, 1893 until 1918. He died in the First World War, as I mentioned. Anthem for Doomed Youth. What passing bells for these who die as cattle, only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifles, rapid rattle can patter out their hasty orisons. It is not inspired by war. And he has written way more things way directed about war, almost like diaries. Like maybe he also had made a diary, but some of his poems are almost directly written down. What's happening? What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Yes, he writes. What are the people getting who die during the battle? They are church bells when they are basically are dead. Are the monstrous anger of the guns and the stuttering rifles rapid rattle. So the people dying in war, they don't get church bells. They just get as their funeral hymn rattling of machine guns and bullets killing even more people. So that are the sections we have of poetry here. We're going to do now just restraining, and then in the next part maybe we should not answer these questions. We have to learn a few things before we can answer them. Maybe we're going to do about parallel or something like that. We're going to do now just restraining. If you're here for answering either questions or learning the chapter more detailed, then you can go to the next part. If not, you can do now restraining at your own risk. Hands next to us, and we bring the hands, counter fists down, and again up. And we're having all this stable stand. And the second exercise, hands next to us, we bring them to the inside and to the outside. And again to the inside and to the inside. Now the T-Rex in the morning, hands flat out and down and up and again down, up. And we're going down and up. Now with T-Rex in gym, if you don't have a tennis ball, just do it without one and just make a strong fist while you're pressing with moderate force onto the tennis ball. And releasing, and we are pressing again. Releasing, and we are pressing again, last time. Now we're switching over to the other hand, we're pressing, and we're releasing, we're pressing, we're releasing, and the last time we are pressing, and we're releasing. Now the cautious big bang, placing the fingertips of one hand on top of the fingernails of the other one, we're pressing a little, and we are opening, and we are closing. We're opening again, and we're closing. Opening and closing the last time, and we're switching. We're opening and closing, and again opening, closing, and the last time. Now we're having flat hands next to us. First we're having fists, and now we're opening them slowly, and we're closing again slowly. Opening and closing. And last time opening and closing. Now we're doing the frog testing water temperature. We're bringing the hands down with flat fingers and up with strong fists into extension. And again down with strong fingers and up with strong fists. And down with flat fingers and up with strong fists. And one last time. Down with flat fingers, up with strong fists. Now flat hands next to us, and we're bending them at the knuckles. And again up, and again down, and again up. And one last time down. Hold it a little, and again up. Now we bring the arms in with strong fists into flexion. We're bringing them out, flat fingers into extension. If these exercises are too much, you can take a break or set out. In, flexed hands, flexed fists, and down with extension and flat fingers. And again in. Again, the third rule, we don't want to overdo it. Just to strengthen. If this is too much, then just hold. And in the last time, strong fists, flexion, out, extension of the flat fingers. And that's it. Yeah. That's it. And the next exercise, hands next to us, and we're making claws. And again up. We're making claws with a little pressure, holding it a little, and again up. And making claws that we're holding, and we're opening. And then last time we're making claws, and we're opening again. And the next exercise, we have a flat hand, bringing the flat hand down, bending at the knuckle, and we're pressing a bit on top of each finger, up to 3 seconds. And with the other hand, and the last exercise, we are folding workout boosters. We have long arms, bringing the arms into with strong fist into flexion, and to the outside extension with flat fingers. To the inside, flexed, strong fists. To the outside, extended with flat fingers. And one last time to the inside, strong fists. To the outside, flat fingers. Let's add again on the inside. And now we're going with moderate force of the middle part of the lower arm. And one last time. This is the end by the next part. As I said, I go over the questions or the chapter again. So thank you very much, and until next time.